Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Ren. I'm a trans non-binary artist, and I've been working with Collage to collage through the tarot deck. Today I'm working with the Territorial deck by Raven and Rogue. I really like this deck. It's great for beginners, great for people who are more experienced with tarot and wanting to memorize the deck. Alright, so let's see what we pull here today. So it looks like we have the Six of Cups. The Six of Cups is a pretty decent card to get. Upright, it means childhood memories, innocence, joy, accepting help from others, connecting with your inner child. Reversed, it has not a super negative connotation, but it's about living in the past, forgiveness, and lacking playfulness. I think with the context of my life with the Six of Cups, is really about getting in touch with that inner child and finding creative joy through playfulness again, which I think this series really helps me do with Collage. It lets me be spontaneous and creative and just connecting more with my authentic self and my intuition. Also to accept help from others, and so like I'm going to be moving my studio to another location soon, and so I think that this cup really touched on a lot of that stuff. So let's get started looking for images. So with the traditional Six of Cups, you have a figure giving a cup with a flower in it to a younger or childlike figure, and usually there's like some sort of like ruins in the background, but some bushes with flowers. And so I'm looking through this English cottage book to find some different backgrounds to use. Uh, all right, I think we found some good images. Let's move on to the next book I have here is the Desert Wildflowers book. In here I'm just going to look for some different flowers, white flowers preferably we can use to fill our cups. And so I'm just flipping through here, finding a couple different images we can use. I really love this image. So let's go ahead and cut that out. All right. Now I'm just going to flip through again really quick, and then we're going to move on to the next, which is finding our figures for our deck. If I could find an image that already naturally has kind of one person reaching out to another, which that is more of the goal of what it is that I'm trying to find here. So let's flip through some different National Geographics and see what we got. I really love this image. It's very playful. I like the television set. I think it could add an interesting element. I like the contrast of black and white. And so let's go ahead and take that out. Now we're just going to look for some cups. It looks like in this Martha Stewart magazine, we should be able to find a few different options to go with. One of my favorite things about collage is actually hunting for these images and looking for them, and also finding different collage material. I find a lot of my material at the Friends of the Library. They give away magazines for free, but I also go to Goodwill and buy different picture books. Like this one is a vintage glassware book, and I just felt like, this probably has some good stuff in it, and I was right. Okay, so I think I've found most of our collage elements, and let's take a look and see what we've got. I'm gonna go with this television little girl, and I just think it's so cute. Her facial expression's great. And then some of these different glassware cups. I also really love these teacups. I think those will be really great in the foreground because you can kind of see into them a little bit. I don't think I'm going to use that image, and I'm going to go ahead and cut out this little girl and the old lady just in case, but like I said, I'm pretty sure I'm going to use this kind of fun black and white image of the man and girl on television. And so I'm going to go ahead and X-Acto that out. This X-Acto knife is really weird. It's supposed to be for crafting or for like curvy edges. And I think I probably just need to get used to using it, but it kind of swivels, which I guess in theory is supposed to make it easier to cut around curves and small areas, but I found it kind of difficult. Again, I think it might just be I have to get used to it because I'm used to a traditional X-Acto knife. But I bought it on a whim because I thought it was kind of cool, and so I will see how I keep doing with that if I get any better at it. But as you can see here, I got kind of frustrated and went back to my regular X-Acto knife for a little bit more control here to cut off the side of the television. It's kind of big. So it doesn't fit super well in the size background we have, but I do want to keep it this size, but maybe it'll be better once we cut out the background of the television, so that way our background will show through behind the characters. So let's see. Yes, I think that is much better. It's still a little too big, but I think we can make it work with the right background. So I'm trying out a couple different scenes. I do like this one. I like the walkway. But one of the things I wanted to capture in there is the structure that's in the background, since the original card has a structure. So we're going to try to get it to fit into this background first. Just carving some lines along the vegetation in the foreground. So that way we can kind of tuck the television in the landscape more so that it's not just superimposed right on top. It's more of a part of it, which I think for like a black and white photo within a color image is really important because it helps incorporate it, whereas without it, it's kind of like just stands out too much on its own. Like it looks really different. And so I think this will help integrate the television into the environment more. Let's go ahead and try out a cup. And so I have this green cup. I like it, it's just I don't like it overlapping the little girl as much. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut her out so that way I can move her around the image a bit more. And with doing that, I decided that background is just really not working for me anymore. So let's go ahead and try this one with the pathway that we looked at earlier. I'm going to kind of tuck it behind these bushes, again integrating it into the scene a bit more. I like the way it's looking, so let's go ahead and put our old guy and little girl back in the image. The green cup that he's holding blends too much in with the background, so I got out the glassware book again and found some red cups that I'm going to cut out and try instead. But look, I'm having a hard time getting it into the composition here. Things are not lining up the way that I want them to. I think I finally got it to a place that I like, and so let's go ahead and cut out that red cup and see how it fits. Oh, that's so much better. Stands out more against the green background. And we can put that cup we already cut out above the television, and then we're going to cut out a couple of these teacups for the foreground. So let's go ahead and cut them out and get them placed and see how they work out. Alright, now we've got all 5 of our cups cut out and kind of placed a little bit. I'm just going to flip through our English cottage book again. I want to find some darker green grass to use as a cast shadow. And so I found this image. I'm just going to cut out some of this darker grass color so I can put it under the different cups and their saucers, and this will help ground them in the space a bit more. And I'm just taping them with some gentle painter's tape to keep the cup and shadow together. And since my TV won't stop moving around on me, I'm just going to place a couple pieces of painter's tape to keep it in position so I can move these cups around more and really play with their arrangement. Alright, so I've got my cups more or less kind of where I want them. They all have cast shadows to help ground them in the space. And so now I'm going to take a look at my white flowers. I really like these flowers. I like the pop of yellow color with them, and I think they're defined enough that they'll stand out. I am a little worried about this background though, with the flowers in the bottom left corner. I'm worried about them competing with the flowers in the cup, so we'll see how that goes. And I think my hunch was unfortunately right. Not only are the flowers kind of competing with the flowers in the foreground, but the sky is so bright you can barely even see the top flower on the cup that's on top of the television. It's not working for me. So we're gonna go ahead and switch backgrounds again. And I found this image. I like that there are no flowers in the foreground. I got these rocks that I can nestle the television behind. The TV, the angle though is a little weird, and so I definitely think I have to add the rest of the TV back onto it, the side that we cut off earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. It's a little bit large for the picture frame, but I think it'll be okay. I'll be able to tell more once we get the rest of our elements in there. Now that I see the TV with the side back on it, I think we can make this work. And so I'm just going to commit and glue it down. I'm so frustrated with this collage at this point that I'm ready to be done with it. We're going to make this one work. now that that's secured, let's go ahead and get our other elements into the composition as well. I'm all in my little container here. And so let's get those arranged. We're going to start with the figures. I'm going to just glue them down as I go, using my X-Acto blade to kind of tuck up the edge of the television a bit so I can get the figures in there, adding a little bit of a gray stone for the girl to sit on. That way she's not just like floating in space in this television screen. And then we're going to get that red cup in there for him to hold. Make sure I tuck it under where his fingers are so they kind of wrap around. He was already holding out like a piece of candy to the girl, so that made it a lot easier. And then of course he needs a flower in his cup that he's presenting to her. And so let's go ahead and see if we can get this one to fit. I think it's a little bit too big, so let's go to this other image of white flowers. I think this will work a little bit better. It's going to fit into the cup better, and also just the angle it's at is more of like a straight on angle versus from above looking down. So yeah, I think that's the one. For the cups in the foreground, I'm going to go ahead and get those in with their respective flowers tucked in there. I really like how this is turning out. I think I made the right call to switch backgrounds. The white flowers are just standing out much more. However, one of the downsides to this background and composition choice is there's not a ton of room in the foreground, and so I went ahead and put some of the cups above. Tried to fit all four down below because the original card is 4 below, 1 behind him, and then 1 that he's offering her. But I couldn't get all 4 to fit below, so 2 of them are going to go above, just tucking it in there. And I think that pretty much does it. I got everything glued down, and I think I'm finally just about done with this collage, thank God. I really struggled. I don't know how I edited over 3 hours of footage down to under 20 minutes, but here we are. It was quite the feat. And so I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe to my channel, as I am going to continue working through the tarot deck 1 card at a time until I get a complete deck, and hopefully in the future maybe make it into a deck. I don't know, we'll see.